I asked ChatGPT to help me make money as fast as possible, and this is what it told me to do. My name's Alex. I'm a digital marketer with Lover Fighter Writer, and this ChatGPT or AI assistant tutorial is going to be a little bit different than most that I do, because typically I show how to do specific things that can help you make money in your online business, whether you are starting a new side hustle or you already have an established business. But this video is going to be about how anyone, regardless of how much time or experience you have, or whether you want to start a business or whether you already have one, to make money fast. And the idea here is not to get rich quick or create passive income or any of these buzzwordy online business goals. The idea is just for someone who needs to make a little bit more money, who needs to supplement their current income, to do that. And I added a special prompt to my list of AI marketing prompts, which you can see right here. The prompt is, I live in location and need to make money as fast as possible. I have resources. I'm willing to work hours per week, and I'm willing to do any type of work except for restrictions, limitations. What are the fastest ways I can start making money right away to supplement my income? And it's very important to include your location, because otherwise it may make suggestions that are completely irrelevant to you based on where you are. And in resources, it's important to include things like, I have a smartphone, I have a laptop, I have an internet connection. If you have those things, so that it knows that you're capable of working online. And if you have a vehicle, it would be important to include that. And anything else that you would be able to use to help yourself make money. Like if you have, for example, lawn maintenance equipment. Let's say you own a house or rent a place that has a yard and you have some lawn maintenance equipment. You could use that to sell lawn maintenance services to your neighbors. So anything like that that you could potentially use to make money, including, like I said, vehicle, computer, smartphone, internet connection, put that in resources. And then in hours per week, you'll put the number of hours per week that you think you can consistently work. And then the restrictions or limitations variable is for things like physical disabilities, or if you don't have a vehicle, saying that you don't have a vehicle, which would both mean that you can't do work that requires a vehicle and that you can't travel too far in order to do anything. And you can't do anything that involves moving heavy objects around town. So you might want to include that there. And also any personal things like, I don't want to do work that would involve getting dirty, or I would prefer to work inside instead of outside, anything like that. That's what you can put there. And that is the initial prompt. And by the way, if you want to get access to this full, excellent spreadsheet of my favorite ChatGPT and AI assistant prompts for marketing and making money online, you can follow the first link in the description to this landing page, tap this button, and a form should pop up, and then you just fill it out and say, get the list, and that will add you to my email list. You'll get an initial email with a confirmation link, and once you click that, you'll receive access to this spreadsheet. And once you have this, I would recommend going to File, Make a Copy, so you can copy it to your own drive. You can also download it if you'd prefer to do that, or you can say Add Shortcut to Drive to bookmark this in your Google Drive, or you can just bookmark this normally. And you'll notice that there's a whole bunch of different prompts, and a lot of them have tutorials linked right here. So once I publish this video, it will be linked right here. And you should be able to use that prompt with any AI assistant. So I used ChatGPT for this one, but you could also use Gemini or Claude or whichever AI assistant you prefer. And in some of them, you might need to use a feature like deep research or something like that. I found it worked a lot better in Gemini when I used deep research, but ChatGPT has kind of combined its various modes now, so it just sort of detects what you need based on the query. And I liked the path that it took me down a bit more than the one with Gemini, so that's what we're going to look at. And if we look at this prompt, there's so many variables in here that there's going to be a high amount of variability in what the output says. However, for the vast majority of people, unless you have some specific resources or skills or experience that's going to allow you to make money in a specific way, like I used the example of if you have a lot of lawn maintenance tools and you're a decent landscaper, you could just start offering landscaping services to your neighbors under the table. If you don't have something specific like that, then in all likelihood, the three fastest ways to make money are going to be freelancing, which that technically falls into the category of freelancing, selling and reselling physical items on local marketplaces, and doing courier or taxi or food delivery type services with a vehicle. And freelancing is something that I've made lots of videos about. So if you are interested in learning how to be like a freelance writer or marketer, you can probably find some other videos on my channel that would be more helpful for that. And so in this video, I'm going to focus on selling and reselling items on local marketplaces because anyone can do this as long as you don't have a significant physical disability. And if you have a vehicle, it will definitely be easier and you'll have more options, but you can also do this without a vehicle. And once I determined that I was going to focus on selling and reselling items on local marketplaces, I asked ChatGPT what the best online marketplaces for that were in my area. And the top two it listed were Kijiji and Facebook Marketplace, which I believe is correct. It did give quite a few other solid options, but I decided to focus on Kijiji and Facebook Marketplace. And I think Kijiji is only in Canada, but I think most countries and states and provinces around the world are probably going to have something similar to that. And most places are also going to have a pretty active Facebook Marketplace. So if you can use Facebook Marketplace and one other website, that is really helpful, and I'm going to show you why. But first, we'll go through the follow-up questions that I asked ChatGPT. And since I'm assuming that we don't have a vehicle for this, I decided to stay away from things like furniture or high-ticket tools and things like that, and focus on everyday items that weigh less than 50 pounds and that you can probably buy for less than $100. And just to circle back to the goal here, if you're in a situation where you need to start making more money as fast as possible, the first thing you should think about is getting a job, right? If you're in a situation where you need to earn more money and you're not sure what to do, the first thing you should be thinking about is getting a job, getting an additional job, getting a better job. But say you already have a job and you don't have enough time to get an additional one, or say you're already putting as much time into job hunting as you can and you want to do something else on the side, then that's when you should start thinking about something like this. And if you're going to focus on selling stuff online, the first thing that you should do is sell stuff that you already have. I think most adults probably have at least 3 or 4 items in their home that they rarely or never use that they could sell for $50 to $100 on Facebook Marketplace or something like that. And so that's what you would want to start with, is selling things that you already own that you don't need. And then you could take some of the money that you earn from that and use it to buy additional things that you think you can flip easily. And I asked ChatGPT for some suggestions of the types of items that would be easy to flip for a decent profit. And it recommended sports and exercise equipment, electronics and gaming gear, furniture, power tools, appliances, musical instruments, toys, and collectibles is another decent idea. And then I asked it to research specific listings in my area and give me a list of links to offers that are potentially high-value items currently offered at low prices. Only include items that likely weigh less than 50 pounds. And it screwed up a lot of these links to this Carrot Market website, but then it gave me some solid links to Kijiji, and so that's where I started. And you can also, of course, use ChatGPT or any other AI assistant to help you write copy for your listings on here. You can use them to help you come up with sales strategies, such as listing a little bit higher than what you're actually willing to accept for it, so that if someone offers you a lower price, you're prepared for that and you know in advance whether you're going to say yes or no. You can have ChatGPT or any other AI assistant coach you on how to effectively sell on a marketplace, but I'm just going to give you a few pointers right here. And if this is something that you're thinking of pursuing, I would recommend picking 1 to 3 types of items to specialize in and learning how to improve those items. And the reason to pick a limited number of types of items is because on Facebook Marketplace and on Kijiji and probably on other marketplace websites, you can list multiple things and you have a seller profile that people can visit and see what else you're selling. And if you have similar types of items on your listing, it's going to be more likely that someone who sees one thing they're interested in and then visits your profile is going to see something else that they might be even more interested in. And if you can learn how to improve the items, obviously it'll be easier to flip them and sell them for more than you bought them for. And it's going to be much easier to learn that and get good at it if you focus on only one type of thing or a few types of things. So with that in mind, the type of thing that I decided to go with is kitchen knives or knife sets. And this is a good one because people sell all types of knife sets online in all types of different conditions, and there can be a high variability in price even for knife sets that are similar or the exact same. And I actually found a local example of this that is perfect. This was listed just a few hours ago, not far from me, and it's a specific type of a professional knife set. And it looks like it's pretty nice knives in pretty good condition. Comes in this carrying case, and the only issue seems to be that it's missing a sharpening steel. So if you were to purchase something like this and then buy a sharpening steel at a thrift store or a yard sale or something, and then sharpen all the knives, polish them up nicely, add the sharpening steel to the kit, you might be able to resell it at a higher price. But here's the importance of having at least 2 different marketplaces that you can operate in locally. This is the exact same item listed by the same person on Kijiji, and he's asking only $95 for it. And in the description of the item, he actually says that he researched similar items on the platform and found that this was about an average price for something like this. So it looks like he did this on both platforms, and he listed it at a price that he's willing to accept for it, that he thought would be most likely for someone to accept it on that platform. So once you've decided that you're going to focus on a specific type of thing, like kitchen knives and knife sets, you can search for that on Facebook Marketplace within your local area, and you can restrict the distance from your specific area significantly if you don't have a vehicle. And then you find a decent looking item which can be improved upon. Then you check other websites to see if something similar or the exact same thing is available at a lower price. Then you can contact the seller and offer something lower than that. And he actually says in the description that $80 to $120 would be a reasonable price point. So you could contact him and offer him $80, and he might say yes, or he might say, well, how about 90? Or, well, how about 85? And then you can say, okay. And so let's say we get this knife set for $85. Well, he had the exact same thing listed on Facebook Marketplace and seemed to think he could get $125 for it. So what if we found a sharpening steel for 25 cents at a yard sale or at a thrift shop, used it to sharpen all these knives, then polished it and the knives up, added it to the kit so that it's no longer missing a sharpening steel, got it all cleaned up looking as nice as possible, took a bunch of really high quality pictures of it so that the listing looks better, and then write a really high quality listing, including the detail that it was originally missing a sharpening steel and we added one, and that we personally sharpened and polished all these knives, that they're in great shape, etc., etc. And then you would almost certainly be able to sell that for $130 to $150, which if we bought it at around 80 to 90 would mean we just profited at least $30. And that might seem like a lot of work to make $30, and it would be, but if you're doing the same thing with 3, 4, 5 different knife sets a week, then that could very quickly turn into a couple $100 a week, which for most people who are in a situation where they need to make money fast is going to be a big difference maker. And to bring it back to ChatGPT, you can also use ChatGPT to learn how to improve the items that you're purchasing. Now, you're probably going to want to use videos for the most part, like learning how to sharpen and polish knives. You're going to want to use videos, but reading instructions can also be helpful, and ChatGPT will recommend videos if you ask it to. And other examples of this would be purchasing furniture or even just cushions and reupholstering them or improving them in other ways. I know a few people who like to buy old computers and then build new computers out of the parts and sell them as like low budget gaming machines. And you can learn how to repair and build computers online quite easily. You can also learn how to repair other electronics like smartphones and gaming consoles and offer that as a service in local Facebook groups. And if you're interested in making money online and potentially even starting a business or a side hustle, please do like the video and subscribe to my channel. You'll find a lot of help for that kind of thing here. And of course, remember to follow the link in the description to visit this landing page and sign up for my email list so you can get my list of AI marketing prompts, including today's Make Money Fast prompt. And for the long term, if you're looking to create a new source of income, I definitely recommend online business, especially things like selling digital products. A lot of my content has focused on that lately, but I just wanted to make something that could be for anyone who's just in a tough spot and needs to make a little bit more money. So leave me a comment if you have any questions. Hope you found this helpful, and I'll talk to you again soon.